Well, hello, love bugs, and welcome back to the channel. And so, my business, Sweet Sense, was established 15 years ago, back in 2010. Well, I actually started it a little bit before then, but not really just focusing on like perfume, fragrances, smell goods, colognes, and oils. I had a little bit of everything. Back in 2007. I was selling a little bit of everything. I had accessories, all kind of accessories. Purses, belts, hats, shirts, a little bit of everything. And so that business went well for me for many, many years. And then I lost my focus because I was also full-time real estate agent, full-time realtor, full-time investment. I was a realtor, well, not a realtor, but a real estate investment person. I owned over almost $2 million worth of real estate. Over 1.5 million to be exact. Near to, almost 2 million to be exact, worth of real estate myself and my company. I had a company called Dream Big Management. And the focus of my company was to put people in homes, and I rented out a lot of single family houses, as well as I had duplexes and triplexes. I had a couple of triplexes too as well. So I had a good, was working on getting like a good portfolio up. You know, I bought my first property in 2002, which was a duplex. That was my first property I owned. And the real estate bug kind of caught me a little bit before then, where I was so interested in real estate and just going out and looking at properties. And I was really green, now that I go back. Green means new to the business, for those that don't know, really green. Very green, and made a lot of mistakes through the years of trying to be an investor, trying to learn the business. Got my real estate license because I was so interested in the field, and I just had a passion for it. And it was well for me for a while, very well, earning some good money, 6 figures. So, you know, like I said, I had owned almost $2 million worth of property. So on book state, if you look at the book side of it, I was a millionaire. This keyword was. And so went through, it was good for a while. And then some years later, I think it was around maybe 2008 maybe, or 9, this real estate bubble burst, as they said. And I was, you know, God is not a respecter of person. And neither was that real estate bubble. It burst on a lot of real estate investors, as well as some of my co-workers that were realtors who own property as well. Other investors, I know a guy who owned over 100 properties. So his portfolio was probably 10-15 million. And he lost half of his properties, but still was able to maintain half of his portfolio, which I thought was fantastic. And then his own he had a couple of more personal residences that he was able to maintain. But me, I lost it all. I lost all of my properties, and including my own homestead as well. I had 2 properties for my personal residence, and I lost all of that real estate. And I'll never forget this. I was so distraught, because it was all happening all at the same time. Imagine that. And see, I wasn't as knowledgeable as I am today, because I had most of my properties were under adjustable rate mortgages. And so if you know anything about real estate, adjustable rate mortgages means that your mortgage amounts can fluctuate depending on the market. And so If whatever that index is, your mortgage could shoot up, or it could even go lower. But it's adjustable. It's adjustable. That's why they call it an adjustable rate. And so I was in a lot of bad deals anyway. Now that I got hindsight and I can look back on it, I was in a lot of bad deals. And so I never forget it. When I had lost all of the houses and I had lost the final one, and then found out, even though I had put like $8,000 or $9,000 back into my own house because I was trying to keep it. And at the time I was a full-time realtor, so business had just came to a halt, guys, like a standstill. There was nothing moving, nothing shaking. This was the worst time ever in real estate history, in my opinion. It might have been a time before that, but for me to experience it, it was the worst. And I'll never forget it. I was so distraught. My pastor at the time, I was so distraught. I went to him. I was so distraught, and I told him I'm losing everything, including my own home. I'm gonna be homeless. And then I told him, I don't have any income coming in no more. All of the properties, people are starting to move out because they know that they're getting taken. And so of course they don't want to pay rent. Even though that's a whole nother lesson for another day about, even if you own a property, just a quick sidebar, even if you own a property and the property is going under foreclosure, your tenant still has to pay rent. Why? This is why. They don't own it. You still don't own it. You still got to pay rent. And so I had quite a few people try to challenge that, and they even went to court with some, and the judge said the same thing. She still owns the property until the day of sale. So it was you still need to pay your rent, or maybe work something out with her, or find yourself somewhere else to go, basically. So that's a sidebar for those who ever experience being a renter, and the property that you're renting goes into foreclosure. Remember, you still have to pay your rent. But my advice is to go to the owner and work out something like, okay, you're going to lose these properties within 90 days to 6 months anyways. Can I get a couple of months free rent? I'll pay you, or something like that. But anyway, that's a whole long sidebar. So I was saying all that to say that my pastor at the time said to me, he said, I was so distraught and torn up. I was at the altar. I was listening. These were gut-wrenching cries. It wasn't about the material stuff and the money stuff. I felt like a failure. I felt like a failure. I had a son. He was a teenager, so he was well aware of everything that was going on. And I felt like a failure. How can I drop from millionaire status back down to poverty? And that's what was really, really gut-wrenching for me. And so I had these gut-wrenching cries. And I told my pastor, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And because I felt like a failure. And he said to me, I knew you when you didn't have any property. I knew you when you were renting apartments. I knew you when you was working at Burger King making $5.15 an hour. Yeah. Same God right now, same God back then. And that's my message to you. Don't ever give up. I said all of that to say I got some stuff in the works. I'm cooking up some stuff, and God has been good to me. My credit was destroyed. My whole life changed. I was homeless, had to go live with other people, and I had to try to build myself back up. And sleeping on other people's couch, and then me and my son staying with family and loved ones, to the point where I just took an apartment because I just didn't want to stay with anybody anymore. I took a 2-bedroom apartment here in Milwaukee on Good Hope Road, and the owner, he owned a lot of businesses, a lot of real estate then, and he was really gracious to me and very kind to me, and he knew my story, and he's seen it all over. I was even in our journal. Milwaukee has a paper, Milwaukee County Journal, Sentinel now I think it's called. But they even did a write-up on me in the paper. Yeah, and then, the write-up was a lot of fluff, because most of that stuff they said wasn't true. And some of it was. But the point was, that's how I was embarrassed. I felt like a failure. And my pastor at the time told me he knew me when I didn't have nothing. And just those words, same God right now, same God back then. I hope this encourages you. If you're watching this, I hope this encourages you to remember the same God can do it again. That song even says, if he did it before, he can do it again. Same God right now. Same God back then. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.